There was a bassist who played in a band that was rather well known, and one day he wore a sweater that was yellow and black striped. And the band leader began making fun of him because of the odd dress he was wearing, and he named him Sting. Now you know who I'm talking about. How many know the name Gordon Sumner? I bet you there's one person here at least. You know, many people pick up nicknames in life. I know I have a couple. Some I find nice, and some, if you use them, the wrath of Barrett will descend upon you. And I know some of you have a nickname for me, and some of the parish have a nickname for me that I find rather amusing. And I think sometimes I deserve that one, but I'm proud of it. But I won't tell you what it is. You'll have to find out for yourself. And we have someone today who got a nickname because of something that happened. Thomas Didymus, which means twin, became known as Doubting Thomas, and he's been stuck with that nickname for 2,000 years because he didn't believe that Jesus had risen from the dead. We call him Doubting Thomas as a result. But if you look at what was going on in his life, you have to understand the backstory. He was reeling from the trauma of the death of one of his best friends. He had experienced and seen the miracles that Jesus had performed over the years, and he had so much hope and so much anticipation that life would be better, that life would be good, and that Jesus would change the world in a way that Thomas was hoping that would happen. And of course, what happens? He dies on a cross. And Thomas, along with all the other disciples, were absolutely devastated because their hope was gone. But on that first day of the week, as it says in today's gospel, Jesus appeared to the rest of them. And you know, when Jesus appeared, it's great because all of them, John, had deserted him. And what did he do instead of telling them, "Where were you Friday?" He said, "Peace be with you." You know, he said, "I get it. You were expecting something else, and all of a sudden your world changed." But Thomas, not being there when he was told, he says, "Oh, I don't believe it. No one can rise from the dead." And that's where he was. You know, sometimes we get in life where we don't believe in miracles. Something happens that's very tragic, as in Thomas's life. You know, we lose somebody whom we love, who dies maybe very suddenly or after a long illness. We may have lost a job. We may have had some downturn in our lives that we find absolutely devastating. You know, we couldn't get into the college we wanted to. We couldn't get the job we were looking forward to. All of a sudden, after many loyal years, we were let go because we were no longer needed. And we find that sometimes, where's the hope for the future? I feel all alone, utterly and totally abandoned. And that's where Thomas was. But what happens when Jesus appears to them? It dawns on him, wait a minute. Now I get it. For the last 3 years, I've seen what he has done. I've heard his teachings. I've seen his miracles. And he becomes to believe. And what does Jesus do? He takes Thomas where he is and doesn't admonish him. Instead of saying, "Thomas, why are you doubting?" He says, "Peace be with you." He doesn't admonish him. He says, "Okay, I get it. You're not quite there yet." And I think sometimes when we get into that mode where we feel totally and utterly abandoned, we have to be like Thomas and maybe in our doubts, turn and say, "Yes, the Lord is present with us." Don't give up hope. Don't give up and be in despair. And that's what it's all about. Everybody was devastated on that Good Friday. Their world had come to an end, but they also experienced the joy of the resurrection. In our downness, we have to realize that there is a resurrection. There is new life. There's always hope. And poor Thomas has been stuck with a nickname for 2,000 years. But so is Sting. And what happened? They both became rather successful. And so can we. Even though we may doubt from time to time, the Lord is always with us and will always walk with us. And that's what we have hope in.
Thank you for joining us for the celebration of the Mass today. It's a blessing that you are with us. Every broadcast of this liturgy goes out to hundreds of people and hundreds of people all over the world. It's been an enormous blessing. If you'd like to support this virtual ministry of OLPH, please go to our website. You can support this ministry by going to Give Central so that we can continue to broadcast the liturgy each and every week. Thank you for your support. Most of all, thank you for joining us today. God bless you. Greetings from OLPH.